Hello, BookTube. You might have to pardon a little bit of background noise here on a very overcast Saturday. Not only is there a little AC unit humming along in the background, but there's also rain and thunder. The promised system that has been slowly approaching is now here. I think it's probably going to rain and thunder all night long here. And usher out, stage left, the heat and humidity that has been here. The next week, the daytime high temperature won't even crack 80 degrees Fahrenheit. So I can put up with, with a little bit of rain, that's for sure. But I don't know how much of it is going to be audible. As we go through some mail, I thought we'd do some mail. We haven't done that in a while. When I think about the background noise, whether it's rain or thunder or the AC unit or the inevitable sirens, I think about StreamYard, which I've used a few times to make videos. It isn't just for video conferencing. You can make videos with it. And it has a control for eliminating background noise. I've never actually field tested it. The only drawback to StreamYard videos that I can see, the only difference from your end, is that it has the little StreamYard logo, which I think is pretty easily ignorable. But anyway, let's look at the mail. We have 3 periodicals. We have the Martha's Vineyard Gazette. There's a downed plane. The Martha's Vineyard Gazette is the newspaper from the island of Martha's Vineyard, off the coast of Massachusetts. All original, high-definition, black and white photographs. And this issue also has a book review by yours truly of a YA book called Another Dimension of Us by Mike Albo. That I thought was pretty good, pretty effective. So, and like I say, it's always nice to get your own work in the mail. Wow, not only thunder and lightning, but sirens. Lordy. It's always nice to get your own work in the mail. That's always fun. The other 2 things are major literary reviews that have never seen fit to run my work. There's the New York Review of Books. I got the new New York Review of Books that has a couple of interesting things in it, but the most interesting thing, let's see if we can find it here in the table of contents. The most interesting thing in this issue for me, like there was Wild New World by Dan Flores is reviewed in here. I reviewed that. But there's one, yes, here it is. Sean Wilentz, the historian Sean Wilentz, the author of The Age of Reagan, reviewed Homegrown, Timothy McVeigh and the Rise of Right-Wing Extremism by Jeffrey Toobin. So Sean Wilentz is a better man than I am. He managed to turn in 2,000 words on a review of that book without once mentioning Jeffrey Toobin, without mentioning what the whole world knows Jeffrey Toobin for. He managed to do it. I tried real hard. It's a subject that really interests me, and Jeffrey Toobin is a good writer, so I wanted to review that book, but I could not do it. I simply could not do it. There's also a piece in here, a 2-book review by Madeline Schwartz of 2 books on rats that I thought was really interesting. Rat infestations, really. There's not much in the way of natural history here, except the natural history of how to kill them. And then there was the London Review of Books, another great literary review here that had one very annoying thing in it, one extremely annoying thing. The opening review by James Lousden. I hesitate to call it a review. It's that book by Alexander Steele called the Sullivanians, which we saw on this channel, and it's 4,000 words long, and there's not a single word. The book's title is never mentioned in the whole course of that thing, and the book is never reviewed. Way back in like 3000s, there is a mention of the author, but the book is never reviewed, and that, of course, drove me nuts. It drove me absolutely nuts. There was another thing in here, though. I thought very good piece by Deborah Friedel on J. Edgar Hoover. That biography, G-Man, that I guess I'm the only person in the world who didn't like it. Everybody else loved it. But I thought there was one other that I particularly noticed. Oh, right. The Winding Stair by Jesse Norman. That is about Sir Thomas Cook. And it got a review in the new one of the latest issues of the TLS that I'm not showing you because it got to me in tatters. That issue of the TLS got to me ripped to shreds. I think probably it was played with by some raccoons because it was torn and ripped, and it wasn't scuffed the way it would be if it were simply being mailed. But one of the pieces that I could actually read that was pretty much intact in that issue was a TLS review of The Winding Stair. I don't have the book. I have reviewed Jesse Norman before, not always favorably, so I'm kind of interested in it, but I don't have it yet. I have Catherine Drinker Bowen's great old book, The Lion and the Throne, on the subject, that is just fantastic. A new book might have more research or more up-to-date interpretations, but it won't be any better written. I seriously doubt. So those were the periodicals, and then we have the books. I want to show you one book from October that is open already, just because it might be of interest to you. This is by Deb Chakra, and it's called How Infrastructure Works, Inside the Systems That Shape Our World. And this comes out in late October. Infrastructure is a marvel. It meets basic needs and enables lives of astounding ease and freedom that would have been unimaginable just a century ago. Its many interconnected systems comprise the most vast and complex technological structures ever created by humans. They are also a physical manifestation of the social contract, of our ability to work together for the collective benefit. And this is, the author maps out a path for transforming our shared infrastructure to be not just functional, but also equitable, resilient, and sustainable. Which is, extra, it feels extra apropos right now because there's also to talk about melting infrastructures. Phoenix, Arizona is getting an even more intense heat dome than the one they've had for the last month. That's going to start sometime this coming week, where temperatures will be in the triple digits every minute of every day around the clock until further notice, probably until the middle of August. And Arizona's infrastructure, no place's infrastructure is made for that. It's not made to take that. The basic supports for your underground cable junctures, your underground subway systems, train systems, drainage systems, the roads themselves will start to buckle in sustained heat like that. So infrastructure is going to become a lot more important in the next decade, I think. But anyway, now we have packages. Let's look at the packages. We'll end with a box. We're just going to open packages and control ourselves so that we don't have to stop the video. We're just going to do that. That's all we're going to do. It's going to be very easy. You'll see. All right, so this first one is really big. Oh, fantastic. Oh, great. Oh, fantastic. All right. Let's see here. Let me get that off there. This comes out in December. This is the new history by James Holland. This is The Savage Storm, The Battle for Italy, 1943. So World War II history. One of the preeminent military and World War II historians of our time, James Holland both narrates and reframes the controversial first months of the Italian campaign and sets a new standard for the chronicling of war. Following the victory in Sicily, while the Central Command planned for the spring of 1944 invasion of France, Allied troops crossed into southern Italy in September of 1943, expecting to drive Axis forces north and liberate Rome by Christmas. Italy quickly surrendered, but German divisions fiercely resisted, and the hoped-for quick victory descended into the most challenging and protracted battles of the entire war. I am a big fan of Rick Atkinson's book on this exact thing. I'll happily read this one, happily. Not right away, because this is the end of the year. So I have the advance copy now. I will probably read the advance copy once the summer is over, and then I'll read it. I'll read the finished copy once I get it. I'll give it a thorough going over. Then we have a couple. So we did a manila envelope. Now I'll do a couple of cardboard packages before we get to the box. What is this first one? Oh, interesting. Okay. Wow. What an interesting design. Let's take a look at this. What have we got here? This is from the good folks at W.W. Norton. This comes out in early November. And the sheet is all blurbs. That does me no good whatsoever. Let's put the sheet away. Don't need it. So we'll just read from the book. This is by Matthew Longo, and it's called The Picnic, A Dream of Freedom and the Collapse of the Iron Curtain. Imagine that photo is taken from the event that's being described in the book. Oh, you're kidding me. The whole back of the book is also blurbs as well. Uh, okay. Oh, here we go. Okay. In August of 1989, a group of Hungarian activists organized a picnic on the border of Hungary and Austria. But this was not an ordinary picnic. It was located on a dangerous militarized frontier known as the Iron Curtain. Tacit permission from the highest state authorities could be revoked at any moment. On wisps of rumor, thousands of East German vacationers packed Hungarian campgrounds awaiting an opportunity, fearing prison, surveilled by lurking Stasi agents. So this is an actual event, and the author is an assistant professor of political science at Leiden University, and the award-winning author of an earlier book called The Politics of Borders. He is a native New Yorker and lives in the Netherlands. So it's a lot more sense than native New Yorkers usually show. Good, excellent. 2 works of history. Great. What if this was all history? Wouldn't that be something? All right, let's try this next one here. It's a finished copy of something. Just make a pile on the floor here. Oh, no, okay. A historical fiction, but not history. So this is out this month, I think. Yes, August 1st. This comes out in August. This is the finished copy. We've already seen this. This is Naomi Hirahara's book, Evergreen, which is a historical murder mystery, I think. Post-war Los Angeles has long been fertile ground for crime fiction. It's easy to picture the gray flannel suits, giant automobiles, and ubiquitous fedora that have been de rigueur for generations of West Coast crime novelists. Is the plural of fedora fedora? I don't actually know that. It strikes me that might be fedoras. You just add an S, regardless of what your mind is telling you. I don't know that, though. This book will certainly entertain fans of crime fiction's most celebrated city and era, but one thing needs to be clear. This isn't Elroy or MacDonald, the 2 names that come to mind, probably. This is Naomi Hirahara, and the award-winning author of Clark and Division once again draws on her extensive work as a historian to deliver a fascinating and thought-provoking mystery novel of cultural importance. Okay. The next paragraph, the whole thing, is about Naomi Hirahara. She's the author of a novel. I couldn't care less about her. Let's see if we can find something about the book. Evergreen is very much a standalone novel. Well, I should hope so. But the names will be familiar to readers of Clark and Division. It's 1946, and Aki Ito and her family have moved back to Los Angeles 2 years after her family was released from Manzanar Detention Center and resettled in Chicago with other Japanese Americans. Now the Itos have finally been allowed to return home to California, but nothing is as they left it. And then there's a murder. Okay, great. All right, well, this is August 1st. I've got a whole shelf of August books, but I don't think I'll know in the first 10 pages, but I don't think I've read this yet. So now that I have the finished copy, I will get right on it because August is right around the corner. And then we have the box. Let's see, is it going to be a big work of history? Look how tired my baby Bean is. She gets so depressed when it rains. She hates the rain. Oh no, it's an advanced copy. Oh no. Okay, this comes out in mid-November. This is certainly not staying with me. Certainly not. This has a target reader, and I'm not it. Fortunately, I know the one who is. This is by Martin Daunton, and this is The Economic Government of the World, 1933 to 2023. Boom! Look at the size of this thing. This is going to be $45 in November. Do you dare to tell me the page count? 1,000 pages. This is, good Lord. All right. Well, this is going David Murphy way, but let's hear about it first. Starting in the depths of the Great Depression, through gold block bickering, the outbreaks of the Second World War, the rebuilding of Europe, the establishment of the Bretton Woods system, and our rules-based international financial order, the end of colonization and the development of post-colonial states, up to and including the rise of financialization and neoliberalism of China, of the crushing Great Recession, of COVID-19, this book offers a sweeping and definitive history of our modern global economic system. Okay, well, is this going to be the new Piketty, where everybody tries their hand at reviewing this, or is it going to meet the fate that that popular works of economic history tend to, which is that they don't get reviewed? or they get reviewed very shallowly by people who literally don't know what they're talking about. I did that for Thomas Piketty's Capital, but I did it specifically to spoof the whole process. I didn't do it. I wasn't pretending that I knew what I was talking about. I was sending up the critics. Uh, I don't think many people are going to want to do this, but you can see the hard ask this is, right? I mean, if you're a book section editor, this is 1,000 pages long. Who are you going to give this to? Who's going to be able to not only get it done in the time you have, which would be early October at the latest, but also make it in any way comprehensible to the general reader? Who are you going to get to do that? There aren't many people who can do that. So, all right, I'm not even going to bother to read this one. So there you go. That is the Mail. We have The Economic Government of the World. Gigantic thing. We have Evergreen by Naomi Hirahara. We have The Picnic by Matthew Longer. True story of a real event, a picnic that was designed to snub the nose of political authority. Then we have James Holland, the historian James Holland, The Savage Storm, Battle in Italy, coming out in the fall, and How Infrastructure Works, which will, I'm sure, tell me all sorts of things that I don't know about infrastructure. I'm sure I'll find them fascinating. Especially, I would especially be interested in the scientific planning, how you go about it. I know a little bit about that because Boston had a huge infrastructure boondoggle, a miracle, depending on how you look at it. About 30 years ago, we had a thing called the Big Dig, where a gigantic raised artery of a highway that had been built to bisect the city like a scar. City planners and movement analysts and economists said that has to be depressed. You have to tear down that whole artery and put it underground and widen its capacity. Otherwise, it's going to strangle the city. That central artery is dictating how much traffic your city can take, and it's limiting that traffic. And we guarantee by our projections that in 20 years, you're going to want more than that. If you don't have it, you're going to be stuck. You're just going to be stuck. But you won't be able to raise the bonds to do the work then because the commerce will already be fleeing. So the city of Boston agreed to the Big Dig, which involved a gigantic amount of construction for a huge amount of time. And I got to know some of the people who were involved in the Big Dig. I got to see it up close and personal. And heard a little bit about how the science, the actual specifics of infrastructure work, but I'd love to know more. So this is not on my immediate radar. This is the autumn, and so are most of these. Evergreen is the one I'll read tonight. But that's the Mail. So we have periodicals and a bunch of books. So I'm gonna wrap this up for now, and I will see you soon. Thank you, BookTube.